All right, let's talk about the media this year and next year. Who better than our pal Bernie Goldberg, who runs BernardGoldberg.com? Bernie is a simple man. Not as simple as I am, but he's simple. Just look at him and you can tell. There's not enough makeup in the world that can hide the simpleness. So his website, BernardGoldberg.com, is easy to negotiate, to see, and it's fun. So I command you to go there today. All right, Bernie Goldberg comes from Miami. So I asked you to give me the 3 media highlights, 3 good things they did this year. Go.
Let me first, very briefly, you said what's going on at CNN? It's in their DNA. It isn't going to change. It's in their DNA. That's why they keep doing things like that. All right, the 3 highlights. First highlight, the Wall Street Journal on June 4th ran a story on page 1 that talked about how President Biden, behind closed doors, was showing signs of slipping mentally. The New York Times didn't do this. The Washington Post didn't tell that story. Of all the major mainstream news organizations, the Wall Street Journal said it first. And they had, as a result of that, they came under blistering attack, not only from the White House, but from President Biden's allies in the media. Except 3 weeks after they ran the story, Joe Biden had a meltdown on national television during the presidential debate, vindicating the Wall Street Journal's story. So I give that number 1 on my list, and hats off, tip of the hat to the Wall Street Journal. Number 2 on my list, Fox News Channel, for its coverage of illegal immigration and the chaos in general on the southern border of the United States. Fox did what television news does best. Didn't simply tell you what was going on. It took you there and showed you people literally sneaking into the country on live television. CNN wasn't doing that. MSNBC sure as hell wasn't doing that. Fox deserves credit because it did do that. And by the way, these highlights are a mirror image of the lowlights I'm going to tell you about in a minute or two. The third thing on my list of highlights, the rise of independent journalism in the United States. People like you, Bill, people like me, we can have conversations that are longer than sound bites, where you can say just about anything you want as long as it makes sense. And the most important thing from my point of view, you can say things where you don't have to worry about being canceled. Because if you said the same things on NBC, ABC, CBS, or even the cable channels, some of the things I've said would get me canceled. But you can say it as an independent journalist, and I think that's very important. The rise of independent journalism is a major item of importance as far as the media is concerned.
Yeah, and it's taken on more momentum as well. Okay, right. Now we only have time for 3 lowlights, and there are about 3,000 of them.
That's right.
So which ones did you pick?
All right, I said they're mirror image of my highlights. The number one on my list of lowlights, the failure of the national news media to show any curiosity about President Biden's mental condition. I mean, there were video clips of him wandering off into the forest and not knowing where he was going. And the White House, and again, their allies in the media, said, well, you're taking it out of context. This was a major issue, and the media intentionally was asleep at the wheel. The second one was the southern border again. The southern border was one of the 2 major issues that decided the presidential election. Yet if you watched CNN, MSNBC, read the New York Times, the Washington Post, you might not have any idea that there was a crisis on the southern border. Yet just the other day, page 1 of the New York Times, telling us that we've had the biggest influx of immigrants through the southern border ever in the history of the United States, bigger than when they came from Eastern Europe and Europe in general into Ellis Island. This was a huge story, and the Biden administration didn't want it covered, and their friends in the media didn't cover it. My last one was how most news organizations fail to notice the shift to the right of the electorate, the American electorate. I'm going to give you an example of a very good journalist, David Ignatius, columnist for the Washington Post. He's a liberal, but he's not a crazy left-winger. On election night, when it became clear that Donald Trump was going to win, David Ignatius said, "This election makes me realize how little I understand the American character in 2024. I am mystified by the outcome." This is a smart guy, and he's mystified by the outcome, which prompted me to write on my website that David Ignatius, a bright guy, knows more about what's going on in outer Mongolia than what's going on in middle America.
Yeah, because they live in bubbles. All right,
That's
those are
right,
good.
exactly,
Those are good.
Exactly.
So my analysis is 2025 is going to be the worst year for corporate media in the history of media. You're already seeing changes, big changes. All of the anchors and pundits are going to get their salaries cut significantly. That's already begun. A lot of them have been furloughed. That's a polite word for fired. Chris Wallace, first one to go. And that's going to continue, as is the decline in audience. Now, once the inaugurations happens, then Fox News, which is riding high because they rode the Trump wave, they'll start to decline again as well. Primarily because most of these network and cable news outfits are boring. They're repetitive.
Exactly.
They got a panel of 5, 6 people. You don't know who the people are. You forget what they say 30 seconds after they say it. It's meaningless. Not only are they corrupt, rooting for Biden, covering for the liberals, all of that, but they're boring. And that's why this whole thing is going to collapse in 25.
I think you're right. Now, I'm with Yogi Berra, who said predictions are hard, especially when they're about the future. But this one, I'll go so far as to predict that the decline in mainstream media is going to continue in 2025. The 3 major TV networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, they've been in decline for decades, and they are an idea whose time has come and is gone. They're finished. They are gone. Cable news isn't far behind. CNN, I'm with you. I don't know what's going to happen with CNN. MSNBC has been spun off by
they're
its
gone.
parent company, and they may turn out to be, who knows? I have no idea if they're going to exist next year. Fox is doing well and will continue to do relatively well, but the future, Bill, is in independent journalism. People, you know what the average age of the Fox viewer is? 69 years old.
Yeah.
And network news is the same. People under 50 aren't watching cable. They're not watching network news. They're getting their news from TikTok, from Reddit, from places I never heard of. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it does say
it's reality.
It's the reality.
That's why we're on YouTube. That's why
right.
the No Spin News is on YouTube, and we've increased our audience tenfold. All right, so I hope you have a happy Hanukkah, and it will be happy for Mr. Goldberg if everyone goes to bernardgoldberg.com.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, it brings Bernie joy. All right, it's a charitable thing that we're doing here to go to the website. And in this season of Christmas and Hanukkah, I mean, come on. How about that? That's a pretty good pitch, right?
You're killing me.
We appreciate it. We're going to check in early in next year with you, Bernie, and you have a good one. Best of the family, okay?
I'll see you at Joe's. I'll see you at Joe's, I hope.
Yeah, Joe's is a crab place, stone crabs in Miami that Bernie and I hang with, and then we get ejected when we get rowdy. You didn't vote for this economy, but you're paying for it at the pump, the grocery store, and through that stack of unpaid bills. Financial stress crushing. The solution? donewithdebt.com. Unlike the others, Done with Debt has new aggressive strategies that free you from debt without bankruptcy or loans. They will negotiate with your creditors so that you'll have more money in your pocket from month one and every month until you're debt free. And the best news, Done with Debt is accepting new clients. But don't wait. Some of their debt strategies are time sensitive. Let Done with Debt hit the debt reset button for you and make your money yours again. But again, this is time sensitive. So visit donewithdebt.com or call 888-322-1054 right now. Chat with one of their debt relief strategists for free. Go to donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. New study by the Media Research Center, very conservative group. So you need to know that up top. So they looked at the NBC, ABC, CBS nightly news coverage of Trump's picks for cabinet heads. All right, that's what they looked at. Specifically, Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, and Kash Patel. And they examined it. And they came up with this number. 96% of all the network coverage, 3 networks, was negative on those 3 individuals. Anybody surprised? No. Because the culture of the network news will never change. Even though they've been defeated, humiliated, Stephanopoulos ABC has to pay $16 million, CBS 60 Minutes being sued by Trump because of the alleged interview with Kamala Harris, that they misedited it, and the ratings are going down everywhere. They're not going to change because almost everybody inside those organizations are left or far left. Now, the corporations are panicking. The front page in the New York Post today, it's got Stephanopoulos, it's embarrassing. And Bob Iger, the head of Disney, made them settle the case. I hear because there was emails between Stephanopoulos and producers at ABC, and a producer said to Stephanopoulos, don't say that Trump raped that woman. And Stephanopoulos said it anyway. That shows malice. If you could produce those emails, which ABC would have to do. That's what I'm hearing. Can I confirm it to be true? I can't. I haven't seen the emails. But it comes from a very reliable source. It's an anonymous source. So I can't go and tell you it's a fact. But there was a reason that ABC Disney settled that case, because they would have been thoroughly embarrassed. George Stephanopoulos is the poster boy for the left wing embedded into the news organizations at the network level. He's a poster boy. He worked for Clinton. He was Clinton's top guy. He's not a journalist. I have nothing against George. I've known him for years. Treated me okay. I mean, not great, but he was, but this is ridiculous. So 96% of the coverage on Hegseth, Gabbard, and Patel was negative. That's what we got in America. Matt Gaetz. So I thought I would have the ethics report now. It's going to come out anytime. It's going to be hateful toward Gaetz. I feel bad for Gaetz. I don't like Gaetz. I thought he's a very destructive congressman. I think he's a showboat. I don't think he's looking out for you. Could be wrong, but I'm not. And Gaetz made a lot of enemies, a lot. And that's why this is all happening. But it's not really fair. He's not in Congress anymore. They don't have to release this. It's going to make him look bad. It's going to hurt his family. It's Christmas. I wouldn't do it. This is one of the most fascinating legal cases we have had in America the last 20 years. Listen to this. TikTok, huge among younger Americans, enormous. I've never been on it. I don't even know how to get on it. But it's short videos, all right? And everybody's on TikTok. It's owned by the Chinese company. Chinese companies are not independent. The government of China runs all the companies. That's communism. Okay. TikTok is huge in America, enormous. Now, Biden signed a law that says if the Chinese don't put TikTok up for sale by January 19th, federal government's going to ban it. No more TikTok. Coming up fast. So either put it up for sale or you're vapor. Biden signed it. Now, Supreme Court is going to hear this case on January 10th because it pits free expression, TikTok, free expression, against national security. Because once you go on TikTok, the Chinese have your information. And you go on any website, they have your information. Just something pops up on your dopey machine here, and right before airtime, something popped up on mine, just delete it. Don't look at it. If you don't know what it is, gone. Okay. So the Supreme Court has to decide whether the First Amendment overrides the security concerns. I can't call that. But I think what's going to happen is the Supreme Court's going to stay Biden's order. And they're going to throw it back to the lower courts for more analysis. That's what I think is going to happen. But this is big. Okay. I don't have anything else on the drones for you. I wish I did. So outrageous. Isn't it outrageous, the Biden administration? They got to know what it is by now. And they won't tell us. Oh, I'm so glad they're going to be out of there, aren't you? Oh. All right. This is a great story. So, 70 miles northwest of New York City is a place called Scotchtown, New York. So a guy goes out in his front yard and he's rooting around in his bushes and he finds 2 giant teeth. And then he starts to dig and he gets 2 more teeth. And then he starts to dig and he gets a skull. And it's a mastodon. A mastodon became extinct 13,000 years ago. It's kind of like a giant elephant with dinosaur qualities or something. And it weighs 6 tons. So it needs to see, the mastodon, if it were alive today, would have to see Marie Osmond right away. Big animal, all right? So this guy on his front lawn is this big skull, this mastodon, and he gets it. What's it worth? About 10 grand. Because there are dinosaur collectors who pay him about 10. There've been a couple of others discovered, and that's the ballpark. Fascinating story. War on Christmas. So let's go back to 2005, 19 years ago. I get a letter, I'm working the factor at Fox News, from an employee of Target. And the employee says, I have been told not to say Merry Christmas or I'm going to get fired. I couldn't believe it. So I give it to my crack staff. And I said, check this out. Turns out to be true. Turns out to be true. And I go, no, this is not going to happen in the United States. And remember, the O'Reilly Factor was the most powerful news program in this country. And to this day, no one will surpass it in influence and power. So I'm going to play you 2 minutes of what I did after receiving that letter. Go.
Factor investigation segment tonight. As you know, Christmas has become controversial in America. Public displays of the federal holiday are under attack by the ACLU, and some department stores even tell employees to avoid saying Merry Christmas. So we decided to look at some retail policies this year, and here's what we found out. Sears Kmart would not answer our questions. Spokesman Chris Braithwaite simply ducked the issue. Their website banners Wishbook Holiday 2005. They were the worst we had to deal with. Okay, Sears Kmart. JCPenney says its catalog is always called Christmas catalog. Federated Department Stores, Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Burdine says the words Merry Christmas will be used in most advertising. Same thing at May, Filene's, Lord & Taylor, and Marshall feels. But Kohl's refused to define how the company will deal with Christmas. Dillard's, however, will use the slogan, Discover Christmas, Discover Dillard. So there you go. Shop where you like the atmosphere. Just remember Kohl's and Sears Kmart. Basically, no, all right. With us now, Philip Nolman, author of the book, Just Say Yes, Extreme Customer Service. That's what I like. Extreme customer service. All right. 85% of Americans say they're Christians. Christmas is a federal holiday, signed into law by U.S. grant. And we're living in a time where some retail outlets will not say Merry Christmas. Insane?
No, I don't think it's insane. I think that it's good business practice, actually. And many organizations are trying desperately to be inclusionary. They feel that the use of Merry Christmas in their packaging, their bags, their messages, their environment is just the opposite. It's exclusionary to the 15 or 20% of the customer base that is not Christian.
And you agree with that?
I do, from a marketing standpoint.
See, I think you're crazy, and here's why. I think the backlash against stores that don't say Merry Christmas is enormous, because now people are aware of the issue.
So I just called the guest crazy. That's why the show was so powerful. So we won. We won, and it was a brawl. You saw the little sticker, Media Matters. They co-opted that illegally, by the way, took it from Fox News, and then they stamped it and played it and said, oh, O'Reilly's making it up, O'Reilly's this, O'Reilly's that. But today, 2024, every retailer says Merry Christmas. There isn't any of it. That was the biggest victory that I had, and one of the proudest moments that I could change the culture, which was rapidly diminishing Christmas back then. Thanks to the ACLU, the worst organization in the world. They were, going into the courts, the creches, all of this. It's all done. You don't even hear about it anymore. And it was done because of me and my staff and the Fox News Channel. And we are so much of a better society because you might think it's a little thing. It's not a little thing. It isn't. And people don't remember how it went down, particularly younger viewers, because we're on YouTube now all over the place. And some younger viewers, they weren't around 2005. That was enormous, but it was a brawl. It was an absolute brawl. And I remember fighting these people hand to hand. But we prevailed. And now it is Merry Christmas, as it should be. Today's economic climate, very stressful, as you know. But with the Fed finally dropping interest rates, there's no better time to put you and your family in a better financial position. As a homeowner, American Financing can help you free credit card debt by using equity. They've already helped thousands of families just like yours. On average, American Financing saves borrowers more than $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise in the marketplace. Better yet, it costs nothing to find out how much you can save. They are even closing some in as little as 10 days. And if you start today, you may not have to make next month's mortgage payment. There's no better time to turn your situation around. Please call today, 888-462-9557, 888-462-9557, AmericanFinancing.net. You have worked hard to protect your home and hard-earned equity, but there's a threat out there you likely haven't heard of. It's called title theft. The FBI calls it house stealing. Scammers can literally transfer your home's title into their names, take out loans, drain your equity. You might not even know it until it's too late. That's why you need triple lock protection from our friends at Home Title Lock. You will get 24/7 monitoring, instant alerts, restoration services if you are attacked. Here's the deal. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Enter the promo code BILL30 for 30 days free of triple lock protection. You'll even get a complete scan of your home's title to make sure you're in the clear. Remember, 30 days free, title scan included. Use promo code BILL30 at HomeTitleLock.com. Now, I got a letter from a concierge member, a very sad letter. His son died from huffing. I didn't even know what huffing was, okay? So huffing is an air duster. So they're household chemicals that are used for cleaning. And these drug addicts put them in a jar or a handkerchief or whatever, and they inhale them, and they get high. And this guy died, this guy's son. And he wants me to tell everybody that this is very dangerous. You don't have to go buy this stuff from a drug dealer or anything like that. It's around on the internet, of course. Shows you how to do it. Shows you how to kill yourself. But if you're a parent, you have young children, young teens, like that, you ought to know. Air duster, okay? Fumes and vapors that you inhale, and they get people high. Boy. So the Florida couple has a home in Michoacan, Mexico, on the Pacific coast, about 5 hours from Mexico City. All right, and they're dead. They got murdered. They had a home down there. They went down there to get out of the winter, and they're dead. And Rafael Cardona and his wife, Gloria Cardona. Rafael's 53, Gloria's 50. And the murder's not going to be solved. Nobody's going to look into it. So if you're going on vacation in Mexico, if you're thinking about buying property in Mexico, no one is going to protect you. No one. Smart Life. 72% of Americans hope to avoid discussing politics at Christmas celebrations, according to the American Psychological Association. Okay? 32% say we want to do it. Don't invite them. Boot them. So we went over this for Thanksgiving, appropriate, keep a sense of humor, but don't get into political arguments on Christmas. Come on. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.